There we go.
Oh, that feels different.
Mm.
Mm.
Feels good.
Yeah.
Feels good.
Feel.
Hello, Gavin.
Yeah, Eddie.
How is it going?
It's going kind of stupid. It's going dick. And yeah, I desperately know that I need to work on something, or I'm gonna get more dick.
Be more dick.
Yeah. So I think this is a good thing to work on, because this was the project that brought us out of our morass in the past.
Right. Was that 11 or 12 when we did the first Fist record?
That was 13.
13?
It was fall, I think summer into fall and of 13, and the yeah. Um, I think you started us off by uh, positing your credo: the good is the enemy of the finished,
Mm.
and that's what changed everything.
So what
No,
happened, a little background, is we played in, well, I joined up with you back in 2000.
5. Yeah,
You, with the band you were putting together to support the record you just recorded.
yeah.
And that band turned from your band into like a band,
Banned in 34 countries, I believe.
band in 34 countries. And we called it OFM, and that was something really special.
Yeah.
And then that went until about 9. I think it was 9 when we stopped,
Yeah.
when Kitten moved.
Yeah, yeah. And then you and I continued playing. We did Simon and Starfunkel.
Mm-hmm.
And I think maybe even like an OFM, not OFM show, but like that material with just the two of us. I think we did one of those.
We did, didn't we do one? Was it at Fletcher's with Mr. Whatever?
Was it Fletcher's? Uh,
No, it was, what's the other
Autobar?
one?
Was it Autobar?
Yeah. Was it
Uh,
I can see the place, but I forget what it's named.
uh,
It was Autobar.
I know we did Autobar. I just don't remember if it was. I don't remember where we did Simon.
That was at the Sidebar.
Oh yeah, yeah.
That was Sidebar. And so that was just you and me playing along with the tracks that we'd named. And that was, I liked that. It was a lot of fun.
It was a lot of fun. It caused me to look at songs differently, and so it kind of breathed some new life. You know, different parts were augmented, other parts were restrained. It was a cool experiment, I think. Um, yeah, and then I moved away, and then I came back.
And then when after you came back, how long was it before?
Before we did Fists, I came back. I think in 11 or 12. I don't remember. Um, we'll call it early 2012. It was April.
Okay. I was just freeing myself from a morass of a business that I had gotten myself involved with.
Yeah, yeah, and yeah, I was not finding any sort of satisfying or substantial work, and so yeah, time to work on stuff, right? I
Right.
think you broached it. I don't know if we were hanging out. I don't even remember what the absolute genesis was, but
I think the idea was, hey, let's instead of we need to make a huge rock record. The idea I had was, let's do 3 songs. Let's pick a palette of instruments, pick a subject matter, and it should be pretty easy for us to just write and come up with parts and record 3 tunes, and then no expectations past that.
Yeah, I believe it was lo-fi guitar, cheap keyboards, maybe Thum bass, and Plam flat drums or something. I don't know. You had the whole
Plam flat.
picked out.
It was Plam flat drums, single note guitars,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
loopy drum machine.
Mm-hmm. And female vocal.
Yeah.
Female vocal was a criteria, not predominantly, but definitely a factor. And then the other parameters were a novel or world event or something like that. And I guess I had just recently reread Naked Lunch from William Burroughs, and well, that's all about drugs and bugs and weird stuff. So that seemed like a good fit.
It was. And so we did that. We got 3 tunes written pretty quickly, and then we abandoned the limited palette, which is fine. That was just, it got us, which was...
Yeah, it was a great way to get started. A good thing about the book, too, is that Burroughs wrote it in a cut and paste style. So I think that lent itself well to the music, where we didn't really have any issues with cutting and pasting items together.
We didn't have any other choice because
Right,
we did it mostly in my basement, and I didn't have gear that worked.
Yeah. There was a working laptop.
Right. There was my laptop, and I still have it, and I used it this week.
The trusty Zoom.
The Taser.
Yeah.
I think all the parts we tracked with this, because I didn't have an audio interface that worked.
Yes.
For a minute.
Yeah, everything was tracked with that. Sometimes through the built-in condensers, sometimes through an external mic or guitar direct in. I think I used my amp in a can for most of the guitars.
We used that for a lot of them, and you use that as like a feedbacky EBO on some of the stuff.
Yeah, I could sort of turn the speaker around. I've got it. Oh, here it is. I'll grab it for the nice people. Been more prepared, I suppose. Next time. Cactus, amp in a can. Worth every... I got it for free. But yeah, input and output, so it acts as a preamp as well, or you can use the speaker on top to create fun sounds. And that was great. I think the hardest part of using the Zoom, or the most ridiculous at least, was that it has a micro SD card or something in it, so there was no tracking to any software or anything. It was pop the SD card out, put it in the laptop, copy the track over, and line it up with what we'd already done. Maybe. And yeah.
Which is still a big part of the way I work.
Yeah.
Is popping out cards and lining up stuff.
Yeah.
The stuff that I'm doing now is a lot of video stuff, and I am a hack with no professional tools or skills. And so it's a lot of recording. Like, I've been doing daily treats for the Eddie Manoeuver Instagram. And today I used this camera, which is a good camera and takes good video and great pictures. But I either got to jack it into the computer or pop the card out.
Yeah.
And it's lining things up in the video editing software.
Oh, does that come with its own?
Well, it has tracks like a recorder, and some of those can be just audio, so I can fly on audio from wherever, and it does pretty well with that.
Nice.
Just line them up with the camera audio, and then take away the camera audio.
Yeah.
With all my trying, I have yet to eclipse the quality of the camera audio.
Yeah.
That's not fair. That's not fair. I just like the way the camera moves. It's awful.
Yeah.
This is everything real good.
Yeah.
Makes it sound real crunchy.
Yeah. Well, crunchy was certainly
Quite
on the
tasty.
menu for fists.
Hmm.
Um, I guess all the instruments that were in it, they all had a bit of crunch to them. Oh, you know what that record also kind of heralded was the recorded debut of the Acerbimer. That was the first time I believe that was tracked, or at least in something that was sort of a proper record.
Definitely. And my dad and I built that in 2004 or 5. Maybe 6.
Yeah, yeah, I remember. Yeah.
We built that in the apartment that I lived in before we bought that house.
Yeah, that's a one string bass. For those that don't know, just post an accompanying picture or video or something. Maybe I don't know how that works, but
Still, that lives in my warehouse studio now. It's still.
yeah, good. We're gonna need that.
We are going
Next sessions, all of them. I think it should make an appearance on every record from here on out. It showed up on the Nashville record, so the last one. So
that's true. We need to finish that one.
Yeah, but that's a project.
That's a worm can.
But back to this can.
Back to this can. We're working on another Fists project.
Yeah, except this time it might not be marinated in as much whiskey or cigarettes, I think.
Well, I remember you would come over with a 12-pack of Budweiser more often. We'd work once a week, and we'd work through a 12 or a Bud.
That's when we were done. I guess when it was
right.
When that was done.
We got a beer? All right, go home.
Yeah, pretty much. Oh, and then a little pint of whiskey on the side.
Mm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Punch. Yeah, we got. I guess we did Stack first.
Mm-hmm. Which turned into Brown Recluse.
Brown Recluse. And I don't remember what we did. We must have done Dirty Water. We did second.
Right, I remember you held the ride cymbal while I played it.
Yeah.
With that clacky sound.
Yeah.
And then
I think then we did Shot in the Face.
Right.
The William Tell, a.k.a. the William Tell Incident.
And then to flesh it out, we wrote Redeemed and...
Inside Job, I think, was before Redeemed, because Redeemed was like I think you were set on, we had finished 4, so you were kind of like, okay, this is more than we wanted to do in the outset. Let's just be done with it. And I forever the burr in your bonnet had to say, I feel like there's one more. There's a nice closer in here somewhere. And then I pulled that one out of my hey kids.
Yeah.
So we trundled through that. The chair was featured on William Tell Incident. I was sitting in a squeaky chair for much of the sessions, I think, and it had a nice anxiety-ridden squeak that we tracked. There was a point, the William Tell Incident, is where Burroughs accidentally shot his wife in the face in Mexico. And
it was a bad day.
Yeah, we had better for sure. Worse too, I think. But to kind of recreate that and the gushing rivers of blood. I don't remember if it was a Deer Park. It was some large container of it was a keg. No, something that you did with your beer, right? Was that like the large 5-gallon? It was really big because it had a nozzle, I believe, and that's what helped it do the glug glug coming out.
Oh, it was probably a glass carboy.
That sounds familiar.
or yeah, like a big glass jug.
Yeah.
Yeah, with the narrow glug 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 glug.
Yeah, so Mike to that, dumping water onto the tub, and that had a nice, filthy sound.
We gotta do that again. I have jugs here too.
Yeah, show me. It's not that kind of podcast. Yeah, we and my digital voice recorder. I had one of those little, mental note, buy coffee colored shirts, that kind of thing. Uh, and I remember my neighbor at the time was living in a row house off of Patterson Park, and she would just blast classical music at top volume 24 hours a day. And so sometimes I'd get little snippets of that when it sounded particularly good outside. Cars going by, and that wound up at the end of Inside Job.
Really cool. Really weird sounding music.
I think it just sounded weird because of the displacement of the waves. I think it sounded fine if you were in the room, but outside it sounded bizarre.
I wonder what she was doing.
She was a retired school teacher, so God only knows.
Just getting rid of it.
Yeah, we don't know. We didn't. I only met her like twice, and I didn't even really meet her. It was just kind of like one of those sort of exchanges where, oh, okay.
Met her twice, and that was plenty.
That was enough. It was once too many, really. And yeah. So what happened? So we booked the Wind Up Space. Rest in peace. They closed down.
No.
Yeah, they just closed a couple months ago.
Well,
Had a good run. Booked that for a release party. It was a great club. Booked the CD release party there for Burroughs, what would have been his 100th birthday. And
did we know at the time, or did we find out later?
We knew it was his birthday. I don't know if we knew that it was his 100th. I don't think we were mathing much at the time.
No, I wasn't.
Yeah.
Still.
It was enough to count to 4 while tracking the songs. And so, yeah, I remember we were both, I think, drinking a good bit, but I stopped for the last couple months once we booked it, because I knew if we didn't finish it, we would look like dicks, and there was no way I was going to finish this thing if I was drowning. So yeah, we had this nice collection of rumble and filth, and
can we do some covers?
At the show, yeah, we did some covers.
What did we play?
The only one we did On a Plane by Nirvana. Everything we did, I think, I tried to have some sort of Burroughs connection to it, or at least the matter. Look for the sunny side of life. That was the last tune, right? We just hit him with all these dour, stank songs, and then
stank songs.
But hey, look on the sunny side of life. Whenever stars appear in the blue. But before that, we took it to Dave Nachodsky at Invisible Sound.
Mm-hmm.
And this was that was the last time I worked like how we had done previously, which was basically finish tracking a record in our space and then take the tracks to Dave for him to mix and master. But the problem with that approach is that I would do rough mixes and stuff because I wanted to hear them, and I would get some sort of verb or an equalization or panning or whatever parameter it was. I would get it sounding, so I got used to it and liked it. It should have just sounded better overall, and so then we would just spend hours trying to recreate, the type of verb or the type of delay that's on it. So I mean, we did that with Sit and Spin. So we in OFM we recorded the soundtrack to an art yarn spinning instructional DVD, and we took that.
Tremendous fun.
Yeah, that was great fun, and took that stuff to Dave to do the same thing. He's good at what he does. It was done pretty quickly, and he liked what we were doing. It's probably a nice break for him from his typical clientele, which I think at the time was a lot of church music. His bills. And I remember Dave, when we walked in and we're like, here's all the raw tracks. He said, well, you're not going to get that AC/DC sound. Which I guess in retrospect, Inside Job does kind of sound like an outtake from High Voltage, or maybe if they were on, Smack instead of Foster's. Got that insistent, and we didn't, but we did do some stuff there. We ran the drums. I'm not sure for every song, but
we reamped some of them.
Yeah, we ran them through some speakers in the live room and then mic'd the live room, and that gave them a bit more presence.
Little more space.
Yeah. That sounded very good. I made him bigger. Oh, when I replayed the bass for Redeemed, because I guess he wasn't happy with the signal or something. I don't know why. I'm just running through a Zoom. Come on, pal. But yeah, I remember I nailed that in one take. Not to make my elbow sore, but
if you know how it goes, you know how it goes.
I did know how it went, and was purposely playing in your pocket. That was my objective.
Haven't left.
Yeah. Well, so in working with Dave and trying to recreate all these sounds, it was frustrating. So I just learned to engineer better.
And then you remixed the whole.
Well, yeah, okay, but first, so we did the CD release party, right? Trying to take this chronologically on, not, what day is it? It's Monday. What happened? No, before that we got. Want to talk about the artwork? I don't know. Kitten Adventure Boggs did the artwork.
Amazing. And then we had one day to get the CDs made.
And we got them. We got them the night before. They arrived in the mail. Booked it. Yeah, did the wind up space. I wanted a free jazz outfit to do sort of an Ornette Coleman kind of a thing, because that's predominantly the music of the movie for a version of Naked Lunch.
Right.
And my buddy Chris Pumphrey, he's a very good musician, said, yeah, you can put something like that together. And I think even one of the cats played with Ornette Coleman, like either one of the horn players or the piano player, somebody in that ensemble. So it was fantastic. We deemed them the Black Meat.
Right.
And we had
Alan, the drummer. We used to sell drum sets to each other when I lived in Baltimore.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I knew him, but I'd never.
Before. Huh.
Yeah, I've been to his apartment a bunch of times to buy drums.
Yeah.
Yeah, he, me, and a couple other guys were the major kit flippers in Baltimore during that period.
Okay. Yeah, he was quite good. They were all fantastic.
And there was the guy that opened first, was that old guy with a handlebar mustache.
Yeah, Baltimore Red Jones. So I knew that I wanted the free jazz thing, and then I knew I wanted something else to kind of start it off. That was maybe a little, thematic, but a little bit lighter. So he did this sort of scuzz swamp blues solo acoustic thing that fit very well, I thought. Burroughs spent a lot of time in New Orleans, so again, everything was kind of thematically linked as much as it could. Yeah, we got CDs the day before. We had a drink menu made up with bug juice and victory punch and jizzed in mugwump. And the exterminator was, I believe, Pikesville rye poured into a can of Natty Bo. And there were people there that went around the world that had one of each drink. At least Dan Look and Chris Durham both had one, at least one of each. And I think Chris said he continued to drink the exterminators after that show, so that might explain some things.
Fair enough. Is there an extant recording of that show?
There's scant video. I don't think we recorded the audio, which is probably wise. I think at the time we were excited to do it and hear it, but we rehearsed twice. Not counting when Joe and I went out to one of Chris Durham's open mics and played through a couple of the tunes there just to get the hang of, doing them live, singing them.
I think that's the only time I got to play with Rob Nye.
Yeah. Yeah, he was fantastic. He's a quick step.
That was special.
Yeah. I hope if and when we finish this next series and do a proper live show, I hope he'll reprise his role in the bass.
I'm sure we can talk him into it.
Yeah.
We can get him to put bass on the record.
Yeah. Remotely.
We're doing it remotely anyway.
Yeah. Mostly
remotely.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm glad we didn't record that, really. I probably would have been like, we could have done that so much fun. But as it is, like, in my head, it was awesome.
Yeah, we had a great time.
Yeah.
Wore a tie. Did I wear a tie? I think I wore a tie.
Yep. We had a couple spare suit jackets there for the photo op and some hats.
Hats.
Fake blood and yeah.
I was looking at all those photos with my buddy. He comes into my shop. We were looking at stuff and we listened to some of the tracks. And then I was like, let's look at these photos. And I'd forgotten about the wild free jazz band and the Oldie McAlderson folk music.
Yeah.
And I was like, that
happened. Yeah. It was so crazy. The lead up to that was just nuts. Neither of us are really promoters, so we're trying to kind of promote the show. I think we had an idea to do a junkie pass and a dealer pass where, you pay the flat rate to get in as a junkie, or you could be a dealer and you get all these sort of extras that are included in the ticket. I don't know if we ever did that, but we tried to do a lot of great stuff.
We tried to do it, and then I think we panicked.
Yeah, we're like, I wouldn't pay whatever we were asking for this.
It was like $100.
Yeah, and I mean, it came with a lot of stuff.
It was ambitious, and it was a great value, but right. you pay that for a show for people you've heard of, probably.
Right. Started out of the gate with our first and only show. Why not? But you got to dream big, right? Because, I mean, if we didn't dream bigger than the gear that we had to work with, we never would have made such what I think is a really good record.
Yeah. So anyway, on to the next one, and what we're working on, and kind of our methodology, because you're in Baltimore and I'm in Columbus, Ohio, and they're not adjacent.
Oh, no, they're not. Okay. Yeah, so...
Waving.
Wait.
Can you see me?
No, that was Squirrel. Yeah, we got a Dropbox folder now. So this guy's the limit. Who has 2 thumbs and is the limit?
That's I heard that one. That's cool. So we don't have our limited palette parameters, but we do have the thing that we sound like when we're being the fists.
Yeah, I think that the limited palette parameters kind of help us get started, and so I just, you know, I sketched out about 3 tunes so far, and they're in the spirit of, rather than adhering directly to.
The last one. And so we'll crank through those. I'll see if I can come up with a thing or two for us to do, and maybe we'll do another whatever.
Yeah, I really think that there should be 5 more. I mean, I would love a full length record, and to me, that's 9 or 10 songs. Since William Tell is, I mean, it's a song, but it's not, yeah, traditional song. So
It's too.
yeah, and you know, I still think that Redeemed should be last. I don't know if how you feel about breaking up the collection. We can talk about this off mic. Yeah, however it flows best, but like Redeemed is thematically is kind of the summation of the story, I think, if there is one. It's linear. Yeah, because right. So a couple of years ago, I retracked some things for the record, and because I gotten better at recording, starting with the Oracle record. That's when I decided to try to become a better engineer. With the help of Charlie Bracco, some of his advice over the phone, and a year or so of sleepless nights with the help of Vyvanse, I got better.
You did a lot of you put in a lot of time. You did a lot of work to get good at that.
Yeah, it took a long time, but just repetition. Huh?
A year of hard work after decades of experience, I would say that payoff is huge. Yeah. Anyway.
And I mean, you know, I don't know. It's like I still don't feel great at it, but I just turn knobs until it sounds good. So and now I can hear the difference. It's like
part of it is knowing which knobs to turn.
Yeah. Well, I'll let you know when I get there, and then we can connect. Yeah, so I like doubled some guitars on an Inside Job just because the one guitar that we had was pretty thin. But the problem with that one was I was really stoned when I composed it. It was like a spontaneous, you know, improvised composition with a weird cadence, some weird stops, like nothing really terribly consistent. So to re-record it, I had to get very stoned again to get back in that headspace, and it worked out marvelously.
Let that be a lesson to you.
Don't stop stoning. Right.
Something. Indeed.
What else did I do? I accented some drum hits on the William Tell incident, just to make those punch through better. But really, it was just a lot of remixing. So now with those skills, I feel like we can do something that sounds like, you know, or sounds balanced compared to the first 5 tunes. And
but it needs to be in some ways similarly unbalanced.
Yes. Yeah.
I'll handle that.
Here's a bunch of cards. Just throw the tracks in wherever and make it work. Figure it out. And then I think we'll probably dig into some Walter the Waltzing Worm.
Clearly, that'll need to happen. Anyway, so that's a good overview of kind of our stitch it together Frankenstein approach to producing these records. And I'm excited to do it again because it's been quite some time.
Yeah.
And I haven't. You made Oracle since and done some other stuff, and I've done literally exactly 2 songs.
Well,
since I did a cheesy seasonal beverage promotional song video
yeah.
and a podcast theme for my buddy Jordan and I for when we do our sometimes blatherings.
And they are both platinum hits, by the way. So
Getting
yeah,
close, close.
I wouldn't have come up with them. But I think you're selling yourself short. I think you lie because we also extended the Fists moniker outside of the Naked Launch project, and we did the Man in the Blood flavored shirt.
Was that officially Fists or was that something else? Oh, we also did the Dirts.
And the Dirts, we did we did an all-American country song.
Too many words in it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. According to publishers that be, and the briny surprise of the porcupine and the wrong show. These were more tunes that we did under the Fists moniker, but we weren't quite sure what we were going to do with them. We didn't know.
I don't remember those.
They were done, I believe, right before you left. In fact, I think one of them was done the night before you left. I don't remember which one it was, but we were like, it's the last night we can do stuff. We got to do stuff. So, yeah.
That makes sense. I've always done it. I did that when I left Columbus the last time too.
Track something on. Oh, was that the?
That was SA, and Casey went to Maryland, and I stayed behind a couple days in the studio with those guys.
But was that the Clash cover, or was that older?
That might have been.
I feel like you told me when you played that for me that you were like, yeah, I did this the last night I was in Columbus or something.
Yeah, I think that was Armageddon in Time. We did some other stuff too, which none of that stuff have I heard.
Yeah, that Armageddon Time is nice.
Yeah, that was a heck of a rendition. Anyway.
Yeah, so you've done some stuff, is my point.
Some stuff, but now it's time to.
And you moved and launched a coffee empire, so I imagine that took a couple days.
Fair enough, and it still takes up a bunch of my time, and with children's.
But we can always find time with the Dropbox shared folder to pop in, and there's the multi-track files. Launch it.
Yep.
Tweak some nerves.
I think that's a cool intro. I think next time we do this, why don't we have a couple of maybe drafts post in the interim, and then we can kind of talk about how the actual doing of the work works out.
Yeah.
Sound good?
Yeah.
Sweet.
Drafts of the new tunes or drafts of this, what we're talking about?
Right, yeah, the new tunes.
Okay, yeah. Cool.
Snippets or what have you, just to kind of show our work as we go to make it interesting for everybody.
Yeah, you don't want to hear a couple guys just blather on. It'd be nice to have some meat. I still have like all the graphic files for like the giant refrigerator magnets for Fists and the drink menus and stuff. So I don't know if you want to flash any of that up on the video too.
Are you aware you can still buy OFM shirts online?
Do you say, is there any way?
Are you aware that it is possible?
Oh, am I aware? Oh, no, I didn't know that.
Because Casey was looking at old stuff, found an old Sam Sessa review of Another Body.
Weird.
And then she found like some online store where you can order shirts, and she ordered me an OFM shirt. So we'll see if it shows up.
Was it the Dave jersey?
Yeah.
I never actually owned one of those, so that is remarkable.
Yeah, so I have my OFM shirt. Maybe, if that still works. But yeah, that's a thing.
Yeah.
Ask Casey where she found it. I don't know where it is. But
Yeah.
anyway,
Cool. Well, I'm sure we can edit that down to something, and then let's redo it.
excellent. All right.